Cramp,
Here.
Behrens, Schwartz,
Here.
Bulow,
Here.
Canuck.
3, we have a quorum.
Our land acknowledgement.
We are gathered here on the lands that were originally home to the Menominee and Ho-Chunk nations. We honor the Menominee and Ho-Chunk communities and are grateful for their stewardship of the land and waters. We acknowledge these ancestral grounds as sacred and remember the complex history of settler colonialism on these lands and the effects that persist today. We commit to a restorative and healing relationship of the original inhabitants and our community.
And our mission statement.
Absolutely. The mission of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee is to create a more welcoming, connected, and equitable Oshkosh by consciously including the richness and complexities of marginalized voices in its planning and function.
And then do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
So moved.
Second.
So did you ask for comments?
Do we have any citizen comments to the diversity?
Or, no, I'm sorry. Comments on the motion.
Oh, comments on the motion.
Yes. Any discussion. You can just say any discussion.
Any discussion?
Not for me.
Not for me. Okay, seeing none, let's take the roll.
Cramp,
Aye.
Schwartz,
Aye.
Bulow.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
No.
No. Okay. Any citizen statements to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee?
No, we don't have anyone registered for citizen statements, nor do we have anyone registered for public comments on agenda items today.
And then now we have Habitat for Humanity, Tom Simon, the Executive Director, Elizabeth Last, the Director of Neighborhood Revitalization, and Ann Dehay.
And Vanda High.
For Family Services Manager.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for inviting us. I was invited, but really, Liz Last has been with our organization. I've been with Habitat now in Habitat altogether for 14 years. And I've been with Habitat, the executive director down here, for just over 6 years. Liz has worked with me in the department. She had the family services position, and she runs our Rock the Block program. She'll be doing a presentation on Habitat. And then we'll have Ann talking. Ann is our family services manager. She'll be talking about what we've been doing in recruitment, who we're working with. And then finally, I'll come back to some of the challenges that we've been facing. So with that, and questions are welcome at any time. We understand it's a free dialogue, so please, if you hear something, you just want to ask a question, feel free to do so. And with that, I turn it over to Liz.
Hi, thank you for having us here. I do have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll be using to just kind of guide our discussion and some of our presentation. So Habitat for Humanity International has helped over 29 million people achieve homeownership since 1976. Habitat is known for providing a hand up, not a hand out. Buyers purchase homes at 0% interest. Mortgage payments are made affordable through down payment assistance and fundraising to offset the difference between build costs versus what families can actually afford. Mortgage payments are applied to future home builds. So each family that we're serving is actually helping the future generations of families. Habitat for Humanity of Oshkosh is building homes, communities, and hope. HFHO was founded in April of 1989 and has hosted over 7,500 unduplicated volunteers in our history right here in Oshkosh. Our Oshkosh territory originally only included the city of Oshkosh, but we officially expanded our service area in March of 2021. Oshkosh is one of the 2 Habitat affiliates serving Winnebago County. So Habitat for Humanity of Oshkosh is serving the southern 2/3 of Winnebago County, and the greater Fox Cities area covers Menasha, Neenah, and the northern 1/3 of Winnebago County. For our new construction and our homebuyer program, Habitat Oshkosh has completed 47 homes since 1989. Nearly 300 people will sleep tonight in homes their families own, built by Habitat Oshkosh and our partner families. There are two builds currently in progress, one on Grove Street and one on Rush Ave, right now in 2024. 4 homes will be built in Amro in 2025. Partner families have been selected and have begun the process of becoming Habitat homeowners for 2025. Families begin as applicants making 30 to 80% of the county median income. Many are now earning significantly more and paying mortgages off early with no prepayment penalty. This is a rendering of our current Grove Street development. We are in the process of finishing the final home on this block. So Habitat actually purchased all of the land between Cleveland and Parkway Ave on Grove Street behind Bella Vista. And the home on the corner of Grove and Parkway is actually a Habitat Twindo. So there are 2 families under one roof in that particular structure, and then the remaining 6 lots were all single-family dwellings that were built by Habitat. And the 6th home out of those single-family units will be closing very soon. It's in the process of being finished right now. On the Grove Street development, we want to highlight some of the families that we've been serving. The first single-family dwelling that was built and occupied was by Jennifer and Joe's family. Jennifer and Joe are a married couple with 2 school-aged children. Joe is originally from Oshkosh, born and raised. Jennifer is from Missouri and her family is originally from Louisiana, so she has southern roots and she's very proud of that. They met in Wisconsin when she relocated to this area, and together they owned and operated a catering business. However, Jennifer is losing her eyesight due to some medical issues, and they are working with DVR to manage another business at this time. Their home has some ADA accommodations, including first floor laundry and a step-in shower on the first floor. So these are all features that are unique to their family, and they have been an amazing addition to the neighborhood, and especially this development. They have become, because they're the first family that actually moved in on the single family development, they've been kind of ambassadors for all of the incoming families. Mesa and Abdel live next door. They're a married couple with 4 children. They are a refugee family from Syria. Their primary language is Arabic. However, they're both learning to speak English through the Winnebago County Literacy Coalition. Abdel works as a shipping clerk. Mesa is the primary caregiver of their children and has recently started working at a local child care center. And they're blending in very nicely with the neighborhood. Teresa and her family. Teresa is a single mother of 3 preteen teenage boys. They are a refugee family originally from South Sudan. Their primary language is Arabic. However, they all speak English very well. Teresa works as a housekeeper at an Oshkosh hospital. Teresa has been an amazing translator for some of our other Arabic-speaking families that are from Sudan, South Sudan, Iraq, variety of different cultures that all speak the Arabic language, and she's been really amazing at helping with that. She's actually serving on our Family Services Selection Committee too, so she's been coming along on home visits and helping select future families and translating for Arabic-speaking families. Aisha and Amir are a married couple with 3 young children, and they also live with Amir's disabled mother, so the children's grandmother. They're a refugee family from Pakistan. Their primary language is Urdu, although they are learning to speak English. Amir works at a local restaurant as a cook and kitchen manager, and Aisha is the primary caregiver to their 3 children and Amir's mother. I'm going to have Anne talk about a book in her family. We recently had a transition where I was working with all of the families, and then Anne started working with some of the incoming families. So the next 2 families Anne has worked more closely with.
So a book was approved last year for the homebuyer program. She's a single mother and a Southern Sudanese refugee. Her adult son live in the home, but we're not actually building a room for him per our policy. They speak Arabic but are fluent in English, and a fun fact is that a book actually works with Teresa, her neighbor, as a housekeeper as well. So we have a really great referral program, and many of the area businesses, or we also get a lot of referrals from the Literacy Council that our English learning families work with. So that's an amazing highlight to our partnership there.
And then the final lot on Grove Street actually is Andrea and her family. So Andrea had been living in Oshkosh for many years. She's a single mother of 5 and actually a domestic violence survivor. So she currently works as a dental assistant, but she's enrolled in a human services program, and her goal is to pursue a career in domestic violence advocacy. Andrea will be a featured guest speaker at our annual fundraiser coming up in February, talking about her experience with us and just life experience and just achieving her goal for homeownership.
And then our one non-Grove Street home this year is on Rush, right by Oshkosh West. Azar and Adnan are Iraqi refugees, and they have 4 children, 2 older teens and 2 little ones. They have family who lives in Pennsylvania, and they had briefly convinced them to move out to Pennsylvania, and they moved back to Oshkosh within a year because they found that there was a much more solid community and educational offerings for their children here. So I think that was a really great testimony to why families choose to live in Oshkosh when they aren't from here originally. Azar works at Bella Vista, oddly enough, and so the residents are a little miffed that she did not pick the last lot on Grove Street, but she believed in work-life balance. And so we're here to support her in that endeavor. The residents, though, have been amazingly supportive of her and have written thank you notes on her behalf, which is incredibly sweet. And Adnan has done a surprising amount of sweat equity on the build site. He is a regular at this point, and it pairs well since Azar works many hours.
We also recently purchased land in Omro. We are working with the city of Omro and a team of developers to create a subdivision of small affordable homes. So this was a dream of ours that we kind of tried out on Grove Street. So we started out with a much smaller piece of land on Grove, and this is our next step in creating more affordable homes and a neighborhood feel in the city of Omro. We purchased 20 lots in 2023, which will be offered to 2024 applicants for the 2025 build season. Our agency also provides services through Rock the Block Oshkosh. It's a volunteer-driven, community-based initiative designed to assist homeowners with exterior home maintenance. So we do a variety of exterior home repairs and landscaping projects. The program builds communities through neighborhood revitalization. At its core, it's all about neighbors helping neighbors. We find people within the established neighborhood associations will come out and help one another. We also have really great volunteer teams from some local corporations and businesses that continually send us teams of volunteers year after year. We have coordinated this program in 6 established Oshkosh neighborhoods and 1 Omro neighborhood since 2019. We'll be working in the historic 6th Ward neighborhood in Oshkosh in May and the southwest neighborhood of Omro in 2025. We also can't talk about Habitat without mentioning the Restore, so I always add this quote to every presentation that we give. Tom Simon always says if Goodwill and Home Depot had a baby, it would be called the Habitat Restore. So we offer a variety of home goods and building materials. The Oshkosh Restore is open to the public 5 days per week, sells donated furniture, building supplies, and appliances for substantially discounted prices. Not only are we reselling goods to help fund our programs, but we're also keeping a lot of things out of landfills, which we're really proud of. Donation drop-off, donation pickup, and scrap metal recycling services are also available. The Restore has generated over $5 million in sales for our program since 2010. Our future plans for our organization are to continue building simple, decent, and affordable homes for families, coordinate women build groups for 24 and 25 build season and beyond, generate support and resources to develop the Omro subdivision, expand Rock the Block program to communities throughout the area, and expand our team with new staff positions. We are continually seeking new board members, committee members, and volunteers. This is our contact information, but I know that Tom Simon and Ann will have more to offer about our programming and some of the challenges that we're facing. how the DEI committee can support our initiatives, and we'll kind of open it up there. Tom, if you want to.
Well, I'll go to Ann if you want to talk about the family selection process and why you think that, if you saw, it's incredibly diverse, especially Grove Street. And we're really proud that the families have really bonded because they built together, all together. And Ann made what I thought was very spot on, that it was our culture of openness, not a specific design, that has led to our diversity. And if you just talk about our application process for
Yeah, so we aren't obligated but opt to follow fair housing policies. So I think we're inadvertent or explicitly garnering interest from everyone in the community, and our programs are reflective of the diversity in Oshkosh and Omro. Our newest families that have come on board are also very reflective of our communities, and they're very
Connected.
connected.
I would
Yeah,
say.
yes. Oddly enough, two of the newest families that we didn't have pictures of happened to be cousins and didn't know that the others applied. So they didn't even refer each other to the program, but they independently found it of their own volition. But we find that our referral sources are very varied, whether it be a workplace environment, a volunteer environment, or word of mouth from neighbors or friends. We also saw a huge uptick this past year, not only just in applications in general. When Liz was running the program, right before I was hired, there was an application cycle, 2022, and there were 12 applications, 2 of which were qualified families, and you now see them on Grove Street. This past summer, we took 43 applications and 14 made it to the home visit stage. So not only have we seen a huge uptick in interest and visibility in the community, but we've also seen an increase in qualified families applying to the program, which could be attributed also to our relationship with different referral sources. The managers, the friends, the family who are referring people to Habitat now understand the program, so we're getting applicants who are qualified right off the bat, which saves a lot of time down the line. For me, in the application cycle, we moved it from spring to summer in order to increase efficiency and decrease the amount of times that families are spending in our program. We follow HUD guidelines, which update each year, and they have actually, for our region, Neenah, Menasha, and Oshkosh, have been going up thousands of dollars a year. So by cutting down on the amount of time that families are in the program, it lowers the risk that families might face financial strife towards closing, and makes it more efficient again in the end. The main thing that I would note about the current 2 families that we're building this year, both independently at their home visits, mentioned why Oshkosh was important to them specifically and why they value the neighborhood and the community fostered here. So I would say we're not going out of our way to find diverse families. We are finding families that are reflective of Oshkosh, and it's because Oshkosh is diverse that you see so many different families on that screen. And I think that's a testament to the work that Habitat Oshkosh is doing. It's not like we're specifically going out to search for families to meet a specific quota. We're just equal opportunity, and that's equally appealing to people no matter who you are.
All right. Was that? I mean, I would just say with this, and Ann has done a great job, Liz too, before her, is people trust us. And I really do think that if you look at the diversity, it's remarkable of what we do. And I really do think that we've created a culture of openness, of allowing people to come from the place they are. We are very fair. It is tough to build with Habitat, but we are kind and we are supportive. I always say at the meetings, never in your life will you have as many people supporting you as this next few months. Never in your life will as many people give their time, treasure, and talent so that you can have a chance to build a place called home. And we challenge them. It's not easy to build with Habitat. Some other things I would say is we do a great job of bringing people together. As you saw the diversity of our families, I also, when I worked with the Fox Cities Habitat, I was famous for, after we had the shooting at the Sikh temple in Milwaukee, we organized a series of interfaith builds. where we brought people together from different religious traditions, and we had them work together. I was really proud of the work that I did with the local mosque and the Sikh temple up there. Because frankly, just people did not know people of those faith traditions. I challenge you, one thing that I would like to do is, we talk about the separation society, of how people are not getting along. I want to do something I call in a couple of years a challenge build. Groups that would not normally get along, Republicans, Democrats, challenge them to volunteer together. If you saw in the example of Grove Street, which really bonded the families, is it doesn't matter where you come from. Siding has a certain way to be put together, and the support that the families got when you're helping each other build a home. You guys were joking that one book worked third shift, and one of them was always trying to wake her up. She volunteered on the other sides. They really do bond. A house is something that is permanent. There's not often in society and working together that we get to see the real result of what we have done. I would say to this committee and to everyone right now, keep raising the issue of housing. It is the number one thing that separates people from each other right now. To come to a community, to be able to be part of a community. If you don't have a stake in the community, something to call your own, it's very hard to feel part of a community. I've been shocked at the rents that I've seen some people applying. It's listening to you guys on the applications, the difficulties, some of these families. It is also amazing to see how it changes when you finally have that place to call home. Liz has worked with me, and now Ann, on some of these, where we've often looked down and thought what a struggle it is. Because sometimes after you get the keys, it is not easy. We've worked with particular families, but we've been impressed just how far some of these have gone. That's how important having a place to call home is. I was also going to push the committee. There are specific things that we're looking for. Land in Oshkosh. To try to please press the city departments, consider habitat for land. I'm proud to announce, I don't know if I can publicly do it, but if it's recorded, let's go for it. I believe we've agreed in principle now on a deal for the Washington School to become habitat and private housing. It is something that we're still working on the final details of it, but I believe the planning department is committed to it, so we're going to say it, and now it's recorded. I really do think that this is a unique opportunity. Believe it or not, others are watching us. I know of other Habitat executive directors that are watching, can we do this in Oshkosh? It is a complicated project to take old buildings, tear them down, issues of lead, asbestos removal, federal grant requirements. It is a project that we have been working on for 15 months, but I believe we will be able to build 18 homes beginning in 2026 and probably completing over the next 2 to 3 years. I will say that we are also looking for passionate people that love housing to join Habitat. Like our application process, we're not asking from where you come. We're just asking, do you want to be part of the solution? I use the model a lot. After World War II, we had 9 million returning service people. We had come out of the Great Depression. The housing situation at that point was far worse than it is now. Honestly, people thought America was going to go back to a disaster. But we got the housing solution right. We built millions of simple, decent homes that were largely paid for out of the GI Build and other down payment assistance programs. Why can't we do that? And we wish to be a model. Liz showed 6 homes, 16 homes in Amro, 18 on Washington School. I tell you, we're looking for land and we want to go bigger. We want to do more. We want private builders to build with us. We intend to blow up the model for higher production levels, and Oshkosh could be unique. If we can solve the housing situation, we will be a community that people want to come to, that employers want to come to, and workers want to come to. I will say in other areas, Liz brought it up, The Habitat Restore is taking an old abandoned Ben Franklin building and turning it into an asset that has sold over $5 million worth of donated materials to the program. The calculation is now it would be hundreds, if not into thousands of tons of items that would have gone to the landfill if not for the restore. I met with Go EDC this morning. I want to tell you that we're looking for a new restore building. There is somebody that wishes to buy our building, that it could be a great improvement of our current building, but we want another building. The restore is part of our community. It is something that we're pushing. Many people utilize it. It is a place where you can get low-cost furniture, appliances, and building materials. It is an important part of Oshkosh. Then finally, going forward, is with the Rock the Block program. Liz Last has led a program that has now helped over 199 houses. She is growing it to 2 neighborhoods a year. It has been instrumental in doing things that you would not think are the simple exterior repairs of Rock the Block. She did a great effort in the Stevens Park neighborhood. Ash trees have been dying. The city is responsible for those on the terrace, but many people in lower income neighborhoods especially have trees that are threatening their home or the homes nearby. You want to cause discord between neighbors? Have a dead tree that will cost thousands of dollars that you say you can't do anything about. Liz can be really proud of the work. She went with me and we arranged a private donor who helped carry a lot of that. So at the end of the day, I would say going forward, we're living the mission. But the challenge is housing is one of the most difficult things to do right now. But I tell you, we are the risk takers. We are the ones willing to do it. We ask that you say that, yes, we are that honest, we are that trustworthy, we can do it. Deals like Washington School, we're doing more and more. Deals like stuff Liz is working on is going to be continuing to grow in this community. And finally, again, people are coming to us from all different backgrounds because we are seen as honest and someone you can trust. That is providing diversity, not the specific design of going after it. So with that, any questions?
Awesome presentation. Obviously, being on council, we've heard a few things about housing in Oshkosh. And I'm curious, and this is purely a question of curiosity, have you guys run calculations on single-family housing that you guys typically do versus a multifamily like a quad or a duplex or anything like that, where you can get more on a smaller lot? Anything you can share on that?
Do you want to go on that?
I would challenge, what is your vision of home ownership? When you yourself were going out to buy your first home, what was your goal? What was your dream? Was it to live in a fourplex? Is that home ownership to you? I would challenge that there are not many duplex-based neighborhoods in Oshkosh, or fourplex or threeplexes, and so we're building the vision of home ownership in this area. If that were to change, I always counter Tom whenever he contemplates larger scale housing. If that's not the dream of home ownership, why would I be selling it to Habitat families? Because in my mind, that's not an equal opportunity then. However, there are Habitat affiliates in larger cities where that is their only option. Or you look in other areas, like in New York City, the vision of home ownership would be a brownstone, which is shared walls. That's not the case in Oshkosh or Amro. So I counter it when it comes up as a discussion. Now I'll let Tom talk.
Anne would make, I'm a lawyer by training. Anne would make a great lawyer if she's willing to take on the law school. So I would counter, and I would support Anne on this, because what she asked really is, are you making it from a decision of someone above deciding what a city, or a decision of somebody trying to come that wants an ownership stake? Habitat is not the solution to but we are part of the solution. One of the things that, and I think these guys could agree with on this, is we get a great grade and plays well with others. We have often partnered with people where it has been difficult to work with it. I will be honest with you, it would have been much simpler for us to buy Washington School outright. But we wanted to partner with the city. Now, whether the city wanted to partner with us, there's some sort of agreement. But we have to, on ownership, I'm going to agree with Ann. If you don't own something, you don't treat it the same. There is a place for multiplex. There is also a place for home ownership. We should not be looking at mono solutions for large tracts. We should be look for mixtures. And frankly, I'll say we're looking for a large piece of land on the north side of Oshkosh to prove everything I am saying. If we could find it, we would be the most mixed land housing development you have seen in the city. So, sorry, I tend to get on the soapbox.
No,
but
I wouldn't have asked a question I didn't want the answer to. And
we tend to be blunt, and we tend to be, but I would say, I mean,
I wrote down trust and openness. So if I didn't want an answer, that would reflect.
well,
that
I mean,
would-
guys, and I mean, we're pretty known for frank talk, aren't we? Polite frank talk.
Well, and that's one of the concerns from the city council is I'm sure you've noticed that Oshkosh has a small puddle on the west side, and we're nearly developed, or on the east side, sorry, and we're nearly
Yes.
developed all the other ways. So you guys want a large tract of land, and I wish that we could just give it to you because the land is the most valuable thing that Oshkosh has right now. Our city limits are encroaching rapidly. So that's the only reason why I asked that, is because I think, according to our housing study, we need more single-family homes, especially
correct.
affordable single-family homes. We also need more housing of almost every type where we need to build. So that's the only reason I asked the question, not to try to change your model, but I just was curious as your thought process.
Guys, you can jump in wherever. I mean, specifically on Washington School, for example, just to give you on that. We have made the policy, we will take the land that nobody else can develop. Trust me, on Washington School, we had done a lot of careful research. It did not qualify for historical tax credit. It did not qualify for LIHTC. We knew that no one could develop Washington School.
Correct.
Now, the reality is, then you jump in, now all of a sudden we're developing Washington School with none of these things. But the very fact that we reached agreement with the city, the ARPA win, the Community Development Block Grant dollars, Habitat is putting in over $300 and some thousand into this. This is not cheap to us, but we want the world to know we were willing to go in where nobody else could make it work. For other future land deals, we tell commercial developers right now, let us know when you can't make it work. They become our ally then.
Sure.
And I have told them there are other projects coming up where they will score off the chart for being redeveloped into apartments, historical tax credit. We will let them know on that as well. On the project on Jefferson Street, I wanted that. But to tell you the truth, the right development for it was moderate to low income housing with the extended daycare. That was the better development. It hurts when you have to give up on a deal, but we have a reputation for saying somebody else can develop it better than us. All we ask for you is promote when someone says nobody could make that work, tell them you know these guys at Habitat.
Love that.
So you mentioned that a lot of your partners now kind of know who to send, who's going to qualify as a family. Can you talk a little bit about that for those who are watching? Like, what if somebody's like, you know what, I would love to do that, but I have no idea if I meet qualifications or not?
So we approve families based on 3 criteria. The first is need, which most everyone can demonstrate with how unaffordable housing is. Recent families we've worked with have also struggled with, in addition to unaffordable housing, unsafe housing or overcrowded housing. And in terms of unsafe housing, one of the newest families we approved, their 2-year-old has lead poisoning from the house that they're renting currently. We've also had many families deal with constant, persistent black mold issues in their housing, which are not things that you have to deal with in purchasing a Habitat house. The second criteria that we reference when qualifying families is ability to pay. So we follow HUD income guidelines, 30 to 80% of the area median income, which has gone up significantly over time. So we even have a conversation happening at the board level. We've projected sale prices for homes that are now nearing $300,000, and that might not be the stereotype of Habitat homeownership that even our board thinks of. But we are working with families within that range. I think it is the city of Oshkosh sometimes throws out the buzzword of workforce housing, and some people view that as a stereotype of like transient workers who are coming for 2 months are going to get houses. That's not what workforce housing is. It's the people who are working in healthcare. They're making sure that when you're at the hospital, you're taken care of, whether it be that they're nurses or that they're housekeepers. We also have a lot of families who have worked in food service, whether it be that they own their own restaurants or catering businesses or they're working in them, but they're not at the same income base that we used to see because the income guidelines have gone up over time. In terms of financial qualifiers, we also need credit scores of 525 or above, and a debt to income ratio at or below 8%. So the biggest disqualifier for a family who's interested in applying is often that they took out a really large loan, and since 2020, it's been skewing disproportionately towards cars. There weren't safe used cars on the market. It's like impossible to find a car. And if you have kids, you have to have transportation in many cases. So they took out $40,000 loans and now they're paying way more than 8%. So we can't in good conscience approve them for the program because of that. And the third qualifier is willingness to partner. So sweat equity is still a component of our programming. For a single applicant, that would be 200 hours. That could be completed on the build site, could be completed in our restore, or at Rock the Block. And many of the more recent families have been loving time at Rock the Block because it's more related to home maintenance, which is something that some families who've only ever rented apartments never have had experience with. It's also a really great way for families to get to meet the people living in their neighborhoods. Liz is really targeted in the neighborhoods that we do Rock the Block in, so that the future neighbors get a chance to meet Habitat families and learn who they are as people before making snap judgments when they move in next door. So that really benefits us. So when we review families from home visits, it's reviewing those three qualifiers and if that family has what it takes to afford a mortgage down the line, if we think in good conscience that they'll be able to complete their sweat equity, and if they have a higher need compared to the group as a whole that applied that round.
Yeah.
What does 30 to 80% mean? I mean,
I
I have
used
no
to have-
idea what that
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
mean.
I used to have the
income-wise.
numbers memorized,
Okay,
but they
I'm
went
just-
up recently.
Okay.
So I don't have it. I'll pull it up on the website and I'll give you for a family
Sure.
of 4.
Just for someone who's listening,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't know what 30 to 80%
Yeah.
of that
And
number
while she's looking
looks
for the
like.
numbers, what we really do is encourage people in advance to talk to Habitat.
Yeah.
Not just during the application period. And Liz worked with a number of these families as well. Often they'll have a red flag that means, we try to tell them, why did you not succeed?
Right.
And what can you do? And you've worked with multiple clients, and you had multiple clients who took multiple years, but got there.
We have current homeowners that had applied multiple times before they were actually approved, and we just provided some guidance for the first couple of years that they were pursuing it until they were actually ready.
That's
And sometimes it's just, they were waiting on a raise from work. They just needed a little bit more income to go over that threshold of 30% of the median income at that time.
And one last thing I will throw in, is often confusing, like Liz was famous on a couple things where something small, when we were going to close, like the judgment in the one situation, of helping families, because they often just get a rejection from a loan or something, that you had this outstanding judgment, and they'll never have anyone investigate, well, what was it? And Liz, in multiple situations, found really small things and has helped correct things in people's applications.
So it's a matter of kind of working with them on credit issues, just working with them on budgeting, and just making sure that homeownership is affordable for them, so that we're setting them up to succeed as homeowners.
Yeah.
So 30 to 80% of the area median income in 2024 for a family of 4, the minimum threshold would be $31,200 a year gross, and the maximum would be $79,200, so almost $80,000 a year. So whether that applicant would be a single person, a married couple, we also don't exclusively work with families. We do have a minimum threshold of 1 person. So I do believe in the future we'll be building with 1 singular person. It just hasn't happened yet. And there are other times too where there's multiple adult family members in the home who would be paying towards the mortgage, so then their income would be considered as well.
No, and we really encourage, we do partnerships, and we're looking with more groups to partner with. Because people often call us out of the blue. I had a gentleman this day who was homeless and thinking, well, Habitat can help him. No, you're way away from that. And it is something, just one other comment. I've been doing this with Habitat for 14 years. I've never seen as distorted a home market as this. I mean, it is so off the charts of the number of people who are suffering housing that they cannot afford long-term, or housing that is inadequate. And I would say to you, and Carl, if I could, to city government, one of the things that we're asking is, the age of easy government money is over. What we're really asking for government is, can you make the process less complex? Can you partner with the private builders? Can you show some flexibility? Because that is what's driving a lot of builders out of the market. They look at the length of time it's going to take to build, and they're coming up with a unit cost that they're only building big houses, or they're not even trying. Part of our big role on some of these subdivisions right now is, I've been the idiot willing to go through 2.5 years of city meetings and whatnot to get to the planning. My hope is that we can reward private builders, that if Habitat has gotten to the point where the land is there, can we get private builders to build with us? We're working on programs where even those that would be more solidly middle class could at least have access to financing, the chances to build. At the end of the day, we have to greatly escalate the number of units being built. That is the biggest problem. This is a supply problem, not a government financing problem. And all I ask is, push cities, also neighbors. Liz did a great job working in some of these neighborhoods. She did rock the block in the Stevens Park neighborhood. We faced a lot of questions about Washington School, but overall, you've made it very positive. Also, Grove Street. Here we thought that we were going to be just wildly accepted. We faced real pushback from the neighborhood. Liz did a great job of working the Rock the Block program and getting the neighborhood to now really welcome us.
Right, and it's a great opportunity to have future home buyers, current homeowners in the Menominee South neighborhood, which is where our Grove Street development is, get to know some of the Menominee South Neighborhood Association members, attend some of those meetings, work side by side on different projects, and actually pull weeds together and paint garages together. And there was a lot of opportunity for folks to get to know what is a Habitat family. I mean, they're working families in Oshkosh that we're helping through this process. They're actually building their homes with their own hands with our assistance, and we're coming to the city for some down payment assistance and helping piece all of that together.
No, and Liz did it. Is that it's classic, and Anne read a poem at one of our meetings, Those People. I have never faced opposition. I've always faced people who had concerns about certain characteristics of people who may be coming to the neighborhood. I think that, in defense of those people, because of the way homes are going and the housing market is so difficult, they're really fearful when they hear that a new development's going up. And so we're trying anything that you can do to help us. These are great people. I mean, the Grove Street group, they jokingly call themselves the UN. But they are some of the, if you heard where Liz was saying, where they were coming from, I mean, some of the neighbors freaked out, to tell you the truth. But now they have welcomed, I would say, at least welcoming, I would say.
Yeah.
And I would say the group themselves, our goal with Habitat is to do more and more the model of larger developments with other private builders. Because then if all of you were building houses next to each other, we're building in a support group. You guys could give examples. They're helping each other repair their lawnmowers, how to do.
They're cooking dinner for each other and
There is
each other desserts and inviting each other over. That's amazing to me, that they have formed friendships throughout this whole process.
I believe, yes, and I believe we made a mistake in the past, and that we would build a home, work with you, and then wish you luck, and then kind of leave. Now, if you have a group that are your neighbors, where you all feel in it together, I think it's helped to just get the people to just, home ownership when you first is a lot of responsibility. And just to learn how do you maintain a house, how you do this. If you've got a group of 6 of you that are all working together, there's just this natural to ask questions, to do things, to feel that comfort, that trust, because you got each other. And like I said, it's been amazing to watch Grove Street. If you just listen to their stories, you would think, wow, what a diverse group. But they see themselves as the Grove Street neighborhood.
That's awesome. So I think one of the things that I heard that was really eye-opening for me is, and it's part of the pushback that you get building in a new neighborhood, is the dichotomy of having home ownership both be affordable and an investment. You know, we've been taught that this is an investment that's never going to go down, but that means if it keeps going up, that is not going to be affordable for the next
That is
owner.
correct.
And so in order for you to have affordable levels of housing, it has to be approachable for everybody, which means housing can't continue to go up for the investor. And so it really is a challenge for the whole neighborhood. And I know that pushback because I get the emails too. If we build more homes, mine's going to be worth less. But the answer is like your mission is like everybody deserves a home.
Yeah.
And for us to, as a society, you talked about New York, and I mean, you even look at Europe. We need to really get away from the fact that this house is your investment versus it is a necessity for everybody in the neighborhood to be able to have one. So I appreciate the work you're doing there. The only other thing that I'm going to say, and if you'll permit me, I think you sold the Restore a little bit short, because not only is it awesome, but I'm lucky enough to live in the historic 4th Ward where we have a lumber baron's house from the 1890s. So when you go in the Restore, you find the coolest things, especially period pieces, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, Amanda's going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah, I will.
But like the rosettes and the things that the architectural designs that, you guys are building new houses. They don't put those kind of things in anymore, but like the Restore, if you can't find it anywhere, that's where you go to. And so I just wanted to put that plug in there as well.
No, we just think it's time, we are in a prime position, 1640 South Kohler, right on the frontage road. It was ideal to get it because Ben Franklin had gone bankrupt. And so to go into that building, we really do feel that it's a prime piece of real estate where somebody may, and we have been offered upmarket for the location. So we really feel our mission with the Restore is, could we get another building that could even work better for us for the Restore? And like you said, on the Restore, it is a unique thing because it is stuff that probably would have gone to a landfill. And we do not make a lot off of it, but we bring a lot that we get a little for. And can we more efficiently do that? Can we offer it? Everybody's looking for new locations. We're looking for, is downtown a possibility to open it up to a different market? We're looking at other parts of the city. Could we do this in? Because there are a number of people, if they had more accessibility to the store, could we even open it up to a broader demographic of people buying from it? So, I mean, a number of people, like, I often joke that, if you were like, for example, a student, you could furnish your apartment relatively cheap. We do have a lot of people, especially that we're really helping a lot of people where, especially in appliances, if your refrigerator breaks, we often have a refrigerator that you can get really reasonable. People are really stressed on their budget right now. And I really do think that we provide a unique situation with the Restore. It is so different than the rest of the retail market. And I'm just telling you, the building needs some work that we have, that we are looking for. We are committed to keep the Restore going in Oshkosh. Would love to find another building for it.
And I think what you just said there is, you're also offering replacements that otherwise
Yes.
people might not be able to afford to go buy $1,000 refrigerator when their refrigerator breaks or their stove breaks. or their toilet breaks.
The toilet is a very common one, and to tell you the truth, you would think, yes, you can get a used, because a plumbing bill can just be massive, and it can break a budget. What we do with the Restore is we try to protect home ownership in many different ways. And the Restore is a way that if you're in an older home or whatnot, you might have options that if you had to go to a contractor or if you had to try to pay for the regular supplies, we give you a chance to repair something or fix something, or what we're really is what people, when they repurpose what they come up with.
All right, any other questions for Habitat?
So if we wanted to volunteer, what is the best way
I
to
think
go
the
about
next
That is a great question.
Oh, there's another slide.
I do have a bonus slide. So we actually have a really efficient software called Galaxy Digital. It's the same software that the Oshkosh Area United Way platform for Volunteer Oshkosh is on. So anything that we post on our site automatically toggles to volunteeroshkosh.org, so you can find our opportunities on that site, or you can go directly to our website. So habitatoshkosh.org, there's a link to take action, which will take you to this site. We have a variety of programs that you can volunteer in: construction, Rock the Block, Restore, and then there's some more specific ones for home buyers to track some of their sweat equity, and student groups that we have coming in. But construction, Restore, and Rock the Block are our main volunteer opportunities. If you are a registered user of the site, all you can do is just peruse by date or by program area. And if you see an opportunity that you're interested in, you can respond to that just with one click after you have a registration for the site, and it will send you reminders and confirmations, and if anything changes because of weather, you'll automatically get those. So if you are interested in ever volunteering with us, I would highly recommend that you register on this site or through the Volunteer Oshkosh site, and just keep your eyes peeled for those opportunities. You can become a fan of any of these programs so that you automatically receive the updates as well.
I really recommend, if you have the chance, even as a committee, to volunteer, especially on Liz's program, Rock the Block, because you really do see the neighborhoods of Oshkosh in a totally different way when you're actually helping people fix up or just landscape their homes or do maintenance. You really do, I mean, to see the Stevens Park neighborhood, River East, Menominee South, nothing like working. You learn so much. And the other thing I would say is, when Washington School is getting going, I encourage City Council to take a day to volunteer. If you want to know about the housing issue, how about work on a house? You will learn so much of what it's like to build these starter homes. And so I just thank you for this opportunity to talk. Our objective is to bring people together. I really appreciate this opportunity and hope to see you at the site sometime.
I will just add that if you are intimidated by any means in construction, or if you don't have any experience, that's okay. We have volunteers that come with zero experience whatsoever, but we have a construction manager and a site supervisor that are amazing teachers. They are very patient, they are very kind, and they work with people of all abilities with little to no experience whatsoever, and you will feel confident by lunchtime in whatever skill you're doing that day, whether it be insulation, installing siding, painting. There's a variety of things that you can learn in a very short amount of time with the right teachers. So we are lucky to have those people on our team.
I'll volunteer not to paint. You don't want. I will carry stuff.
The next Rock the Block is in the historic in your neighborhood.
Historic 6th Ward.
Not
Sixth
fourth.
Ward.
Yeah,
You're in
fourth.
fourth. You're
You're
fourth.
close.
Okay.
Adjacent.
Sorry, miss her.
It's all right.
So historic 6th Ward opportunities will be in May, and we'll have a variety of opportunities. We usually don't have volunteers sign up for a specific task. They sign up for the day, and then whatever we have scheduled for that day, we have a variety of people, or a variety of opportunities for people to choose when they arrive. So if you're comfortable on a ladder, you can choose that job to work on gutters, like clearing them out, Or if you want your feet on the ground, you can volunteer to do more like landscaping and pulling weeds or planting or something like that. So there's a lot of different things that you can choose and a lot of different ways to help.
All right, well,
Thank you.
again, thank you so much for coming. You're welcome as we wrap up our last few things to
Sure.
stay, or if you want to head out, we completely understand too, because, well, we appreciate you taking your time to come here tonight and spend some time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, our round table, do we have any DEI related events or activities in the area?
I actually did not come across any right now. I think everyone is preparing for the upcoming holidays. You know, we've had some recent events that have happened in the last month, but I don't see too much coming up in December right now that are, you know, specifically DEI related.
Do we have
Anything else anyone wants to talk about as from our round table? You know, that's
Can't think of any. Personally, I'm currently doing a project for Reed Elementary. Just if you are a crafter of any kind, if you do crochet, knitting, now is the time of year when a lot of kids in the area need sweaters, need hats, need scarves. So if you wanted to craft some of those things and give them to your neighbors and friends, that could be a nice thing to do, because that's how I'm spending my chilly hours by the fire.
any outstanding items?
So we normally talk a little bit about anything upcoming on the council agenda. Carl, do you want to take that one, or?
I can take it off the top of my head. I know tomorrow there will be discussion, and there's still time to weigh in on no alcohol in Oshkosh public parks. There's a really good amount of information in the packet available online about why that was recommended, and reach out to your council people with any thoughts you have on that. The city manager search is the biggest thing that we're doing right now, and there'll be an update on that tomorrow at the meeting. I think that's about all that relates to DEI on the agenda.
Yeah, and there'll be one December meeting for council, and then the second December meeting has been canceled. I
Will
guess.
be officially canceled
Will be,
tomorrow.
okay, I'm sorry.
Provided the vote.
Provided
It's on
it
December
passes,
24th, so I would be shocked if it was not.
So yes, we have tomorrow and one more council meeting to get city business done before the end of the year,
Yep.
assuming it passes tomorrow. So
And we do not have a meeting in December.
we do not. We did vote to
Right.
not have a
Okay,
December
perfect.
meeting. It is right in that week of Christmas, so we're going to take that month off. So we
Smart.
will see everyone back in January.
Perfect.
Right.
Do we have any future agenda items, or basically we covered that with meetings?
Again, this is where we always offer, if anyone has any ideas for future meetings, feel free to share them now, or of course, email me and the chairperson, Liz, with any ideas for future agenda items. I think we're going to need to go back to our list of, is there anyone else we'd like to invite? We've gotten through a lot of our list with some really great presentations over the last year and a half. So we're open to new ideas of
Okay.
other nonprofits or other community members that we could invite in to share what they do and see how the city can be part of that. So if anyone has any additional ideas, certainly feel free to send us those. Do we have January scheduled? Do we have someone for January?
No, I was working with the museum.
Okay, so we do not have anyone scheduled right now for January. We were talking about inviting the museum again, because they're always fun.
There's a community program called We Heart You that Jennifer Skolasky is involved with, and it's about addiction services and addiction recovery, and she's one of the best people on the planet, so I think that she could be that would be very interesting, and I can reach out to her if you'd like me to.
Yeah, certainly if you'd like to reach out and just make an introduction,
Yeah.
we can do the rest.
Yes, perfect.
So,
Okay.
all right.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.